Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWUS. We got NBA on Sunday, 8 games on the board. Things have been going well for me in the NBA. I've hit 5 bets in a row. I haven't lost an NBA bet since Thursday. Yeah, I haven't lost an NBA bet since Thursday. 2 straight sweeps. I mean, it was 2-0 and 3-0. It's not like I'm placing a ton of bets. But yeah, things have been going well. 8 games on Sunday. Let's get into it.
I mean, is Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points?
I would hope Quinn Ewers put up a decent stat line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get this to us. First up, we got a good one here. Clips on the road in Cleveland. 2 great teams. Cleveland's been one of the best teams in the NBA all year. Clippers have been red hot. No Kawhi Leonard in this one, though. Let me see if there's any updates to the injury report there. 1 second. Yeah, no Kawhi Leonard. On Cleveland's side, no Ty Jerome. Other than that, they should be good to go. So, yeah, no Kawhi for the Clippers in this one. They've been playing some serious basketball. In the last 10 games, they're first in offensive efficiency, 4th in defensive efficiency. But obviously, they're playing Cleveland in Cleveland. Should favor the Cavs a little bit. They've been a lot better against good teams this year. Meanwhile, the Clippers have been more profitable against bad teams. So maybe a slight lean to the Cavs based on the fact that it's a matchup between 2 good teams. Now, something else that should favor the Cavs here is transition. They've been running out in transition a lot. They're 6th in transition frequency in the last 10 games. Not that the Clippers have been terrible defending the fast break, but they've definitely been more profitable against teams that don't run the fast break. Against the bottom 10 teams in transition frequency, they're 16-8 against the spread. Against the top 10, 13-11 against the spread. Here's the thing, I didn't move the needle for this because even though Cleveland has been running the fast break a lot, they haven't been very efficient. They're actually 28th in efficiency in the last 5 games. So I don't know. This didn't move the needle for me. Now we get to the matchup you're looking for if you're trying to bet the Clippers here. It's the Clippers perimeter defense against the Cavs 3-point shooting. This should be a very favorable matchup for the Clippers defensively. Cleveland, as we know, they take a ton of threes. They've taken a ton of threes all year. Haven't really slowed down. They're 5th in 3-point frequency in the last 10 games, 29th in efficiency. We've been talking about it. The Cavs are not hitting threes right now like they were earlier in the year, but they are taking a ton of them. The reason I'm bringing this up is the Clippers perimeter defense, one of the best in the NBA, certainly a top 5 3-point defense recently, and they've been much more profitable against 3-point shooting teams. Check this out. Against top 10 teams in 3-point frequency, they're 17-9 against the spread, 8-13 against the spread against the bottom 10 in 3-point frequency. So you like that if you're betting the Clips here. The question is that enough to place a Clippers bet here? On the road in Cleveland, no Kawhi Leonard. It's a tough spot. I personally have it without Kawhi Leonard. I have it at 6.9. So I have it at Cleveland minus 6.9. So you can get an 8 right now. So I guess it was mostly at 7.5. It's up to 8 now. So I guess now that there are 8s available, maybe Clippers plus 8. I personally didn't bet it, but I mean, I think I would need 8.5. I think I would need 9 to consider it. So as of right now, it's Clippers or pass. Next, Portland on the road in Madison Square Garden. These 2 teams have actually been pretty close to even recently. In the last 10 games, the Blazers are 18th in offensive efficiency, 17th in defensive efficiency. The Knicks are 17th and 12th. So in terms of efficiency, the Knicks have been slightly better, but we have to take into consideration the strength of schedule. In the last 10 games, Portland's 5th in the NBA in strength of schedule. The Knicks are 25th. So okay, efficiency-wise, the Knicks have been a little bit better than Portland recently. They've also played the significantly easier schedule. And honestly, when I was looking at this one, I was starting to like the matchup for the Blazers offense. Portland might be able to score some points here in Madison Square Garden. So Portland recently shooting a ton of threes. In the last 10 games, they're 2nd in 3-point frequency, 25th in paint frequency. So they've abandoned the interior. They are launching some threes. The reason that's significant, those are the types of offenses the Knicks have struggled with this year. Against teams in the bottom 10 of paint frequency, the Knicks are 10-14 against the number this year. Against teams in the top 10 of 3-point frequency, 11-13 against the spread. Both of those describe Portland right now, or the way they're playing right now. On the Portland side, they've been profitable against bad paint defenses, which also describes the Knicks defense right now. 13-9 against the spread against the bottom 10 paint defenses. Not that that's anything crazy, but certainly pushes me over towards the Portland offense. And when we flip it over to the other side of the court, there's even more favorable matchups for the Blazers here. I actually like the matchup for Portland's defense. So what has the Knicks offense been doing recently? They don't take many threes. They're 25th in three-point frequency in the last 10 games. They've actually been taking a lot of mid-range shots. Perfect combination for Portland on the season. Bottom 10 in three-point frequency, 15-10 against the spread. Against the top 10 in mid-range frequency, 29-1 against the spread. So it seems like a favorable matchup for Portland across the board. Now there are some injury concerns here for the Blazers. You got no Ayton, no Scoot Henderson, no Robert Williams. That's not new. Also, Jeremy Grant listed as doubtful, and Anthony Simons listed as questionable as well. So Portland dealing with all kinds of injuries right now. But on the Knicks side, no Brunson, no McBride, no Payne. So again, the Knicks are left very limited in terms of primary ball handlers. You're going to see a lot of DeLon Wright handling the ball. A lot of Tyler Kolek off the bench out of Marquette handling the ball. I took Portland here. I got a plus 8.5. I think you can still get, I'm seeing mostly 8, but you could still get a plus 8.5 if you look. I'm on the Blazers in this one, plus 8.5 next game. Charlotte's on the road in New Orleans, and I mean, we've got two rock-bottom organizations here. No other way to say that. That should favor the Pelicans a bit, because as I've mentioned before, the Hornets have been awful against bad teams this year. Meanwhile, the Pelicans, when they've seen really bad defenses, they've actually been profitable. They're 15-7 against the spread against bottom 10 defenses. So, I mean, betting the Pelicans has not been a successful endeavor this year, but if you've played them only when they've seen bad defenses, you're actually doing okay. Look, I'm not going to waste any more time talking about this game. I mean, I guess it would be Pelicans or pass, but no interest at all. And same for the next game. Warriors on the road in San Antonio. Steph Curry's on the injury report. He's listed as probable, though. Spurs are a weird team right now. They did just cover against Cleveland. To be honest, I just don't have much interest, so I'm going to skip on over to the next one, which is Atlanta on the road in Milwaukee, and I do have a bet in this game. The Hawks have actually been the better team recently. They're 8th in offensive efficiency in the last 10 games, 18th on the defensive side of the ball. Meanwhile, Milwaukee is 15th and 14th, but look at the strength of schedule. It's not even close. Atlanta's 29th in strength of schedule in the last 10 games. Meanwhile, the Bucks are second. So efficiency-wise, the Hawks have been a little bit better. The Bucks have played a significantly stronger schedule than the Hawks have recently. And in terms of the matchup, I'm just finding things I like here for Milwaukee. First, let's look at the Hawks offense. What does Atlanta do a lot of? Run. They've run all year. On the season, they're second in transition frequency. They haven't slowed down. They're 4th in the last 10 games. The reason I'm bringing that up, Milwaukee's been extremely profitable against teams that run in transition. They're 17-9-2 against the spread against the top 10 teams in transition frequency. So you'll like that if you're betting Milwaukee here. And the matchup actually gets even better for Milwaukee's defense in this one. What else do we know about the Hawks offense? They run in transition. They also attack the paint a lot. That's been the identity of their offense all year. They're actually one of the more efficient paint offenses in the NBA this year. They attack the paint a lot and they score when they're in the paint. The reason I'm bringing that up, Milwaukee's been much more successful against good interior offenses than they have against bad interior offenses. 11-10-1 against the spread against the top 10 in frequency, 12-11-1 against the spread against the top 10 in efficiency. On the right side of this graphic, you could see that they actually struggle when they play bad interior offenses, so I like that as well for Milwaukee. I bet the Bucks here. I had this one close to 6, so I saw 3.5. I grabbed it. It looks like most sports books have moved this up to 4. Now, injuries could be a concern here. Forgot to mention injuries. Clint Capella's out for the Hawks. Wallace is out as well. Trae Young's on the report listed as probable. On the Bucks side, no Lillard, no Portis, no Sims. AJ Green's on the report listed as questionable. Giannis is listed as probable. So I may get bit by the injury bug in this one. But personally, if Giannis is going to play in this one, I have it up close to 6. I have it at about 5.8. So I took the Bucks at -3.5. Hopefully Giannis plays next. Detroit's on the road in Minnesota, and both these teams have been playing well. In the last 10 games, the Pistons' offense is 5th. Minnesota's offense is 4th. Defensively, 10th and 11th. So both of these teams are very similar in terms of efficiency, and they've both played questionable schedules. In the last 10 games, the Pistons are 26th. Minnesota's 28th. So they've both done this against easier schedules. Now, normally I would say the Pistons transition offense could be a problem here for Minnesota. The Timberwolves have struggled against these transition offenses, 8-15 against the spread, against the top 10 offenses in transition frequency. The thing is, the Pistons transition offense doesn't seem to be the same without Cade Cunningham out there. Not only are they running the fast break less, but they're far less efficient when they do run the fast break. So unfortunately, this is not going to move the needle for me. If Cade Cunningham was playing, I would shift the handicap 1.5 for this, but with no Cade Cunningham, I don't know if the Pistons can exploit this. Now, some good news for the Pistons offense is attacking the paint. This is not the 2024 Minnesota Timberwolves. They've actually struggled with teams that attack the interior, which is almost the opposite of the Minnesota team from last year. Against the top 10 offenses in paint frequency, they're below 500 against the spread. So a Detroit offense that's first in paint frequency in the last 10 games should be a problem for the Minnesota defense. That being said, want to know who takes a ton of their shots on the interior? Cade Cunningham. So I don't know if that's going to be the same either. Now, if you are taking the points with Detroit here, I think this is your strongest angle. The Pistons have been playing elite defense against the three-point shot. This is a top 10 defense against the three ball in the last 10 games. Minnesota, as I'm sure you know, launching threes this year. I mean, they're up there with the Celtics, the Warriors, the Cavs. This is one of the most three-point happy offenses in the NBA. Detroit against three-point shooting offenses, 18-7-2 against the spread, against the top 10 in three-point frequency. So against these offenses that shoot a lot of threes, Detroit's been money against. So you like that a lot. Even without Cade Cunningham, you like that a lot for Detroit. Now, unfortunately, even with that included in the handicap, I still couldn't get there with the Pistons. I mean, this is sitting at 7.5 now. Even with that included, I have this at Minnesota minus 9.5, 10. So at the current number, I guess I would lean Minnesota, but I don't really like the matchup. I don't feel comfortable pulling the trigger on that. So I guess T-Wolves are past, but I'm not betting this one. And speaking of not betting this one, the next one is Raptors, Sixers, and Philly. No interest, not going to waste your time talking about it. So let's move right along to Houston at Phoenix. These two teams have been pretty close recently. In the last 10 games, the Rockets are 11th in offensive efficiency, 7th in defensive efficiency, 24th in strength of schedule, though. Strength of schedule is key here because the Suns are 9th and 21st against the third strongest schedule. So Phoenix playing some decent basketball against a very strong schedule. We should definitely see a slow-paced game here. Both these teams are bottom 10 in pace in the last 10 games. Neither of them get out and run in transition. In the last 10 games, the Rockets are actually 30th in transition frequency, and I mean, we know Phoenix doesn't run out in transition either. That should favor the Rockets a little bit. Not that Houston's been excellent in these type of games, but Phoenix has really struggled with slow-paced teams that don't get out and run. 6-13-1 against the spread, against the bottom 10 in pace and the bottom 10 in transition frequency. Meanwhile, the Rockets are sitting at about 500 against those types of teams. Now we get to some good news for Phoenix, and it comes on the offensive end. What do we know about this Suns offense? They do not attack the paint. This is a jump shooting offense to the maximum. You didn't need me to tell you that. You already knew that. The reason that is good news if you plan on betting the Suns here is Houston has struggled with these teams that take a lot of jump shots, that take a lot of three-point shots. 12-14 against the spread, against the top 10 in three-point frequency. They've been dominant against teams that don't shoot the three ball. Obviously, that does not describe the Phoenix Suns. I personally have this at +1. I thought it was worth the bet. I took the Suns at +2.5. I know I'm going to get roasted for this one on the live show, but I did it. Phoenix +2.5. Live show, we're going to do 11 a.m. Eastern time. We're going to go through the college basketball, MLB, and NBA. We'll go through everything. If you're able to make it, we'd love to see you in the comments. If you want to go see all the bets I currently have open, head over to KyleKirms.com and click on Open Bets. Then click on Sauce, and you'll see all mine there. Be sure to hit me up in the Discord if you need anything at all. Let's have ourselves a good one. Bet responsibly. Later.